It's perfectly queer with It Gets Better.
Oh my goodness.
Meow.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Y'all caught me saying meow.
I was like, what? Are we doing animal noises to start?
Well, y'all, not to pull back the curtain, but our special guest today has a nice feline friend that came onto the camera.
Oh my gosh, you're so right.
And
we might get to see them.
Mhm,
You guys
I hope
can't
so,
see the
fingers
screens
crossed.
that we see, but I see them right now, and they are adorable. Oh my goodness.
Very cute.
Whoa,
Oh my God. Well,
Wow.
we'll get right to it. Also, Taylor,
Yeah.
happy birthday. Y'all, it's Taylor's
Oh,
birthday.
thanks.
So show Taylor some love in the chat.
Hi, everyone. Hi. It's
How's
so
your
nice to
birthday?
see everyone.
Yeah.
My birthday's good. I'm 26 now, which means that, my prefrontal cortex is really finished cooking. She's firing on all cylinders. And I'm really happy about it. That's the best birthday gift I've gotten in years.
I love that for you.
Yeah, it's been good. I like having a birthday in the middle of the week is always weird, as most people know, because like most people's birthdays are like always fall, like at least sometimes during a weekday, and it's just like, what am I supposed to do with this? But yeah, I like went to a cafe, had up with some friends.
What are you gonna do tonight?
I'm gonna do the stream, be with all my favorite internet buddies, be with you, my wonderful co-host, talk to our special guests who we'll talk about in a second, and I'll probably just chill. I'll make a dinner. I'll watch a movie.
Yeah. A lovely evening.
Yeah.
My birthday coming up is on a Sunday, and I'm like, I can't.
Day.
Sunday sads.
Yeah. But it's a day of rest. Maybe just pamper yourself. Maybe like plan like a spa retreat or something, and just
I like that.
Pampered and reset and stuff.
Yeah,
I
like that.
Yeah,
the chat's popping. Yes.
Yay!
Everybody's
birthday wishes, you guys. That's really
giving gifts. And thank you, Lila's.
Yeah.
5 months in a row.
Wow.
Oh my God.
You're a real one. An OG.
Yes. Y'all, FrankThePegasus is joining us. We know we're excited to chat with Frank.
We really are. We really are excited to talk to Frank. But how was your holidays, Ever? We haven't had a show since the Friends, the Friends and Family show.
Yes.
That we had like right before Christmas. But how was your holiday season? What were you up to?
Yeah, it was good. I went to Texas. I went back to rural Texas to see my family. And my mom's side especially, they're all very supportive and like loving and kind and very funny. And I feel very grateful for that. Everybody on Christmas Eve, we hosted it at my house. And I was like, I'm going to have a nice spread. I was like, Mom, Dad, I'll take care of the appetizers. Yeah, I'll take care of the drinks. Okay. And then everybody showed up with their own coolers and then sat on their coolers and wouldn't share. And I had forgotten that aspect of rural Texas.
I thought the holidays were about, 'tis the season to give and all that.
Not my Lone Star. Not my Keystone Line. That was like my family. But yeah, so it was fun. We had some bonfires. It was good to like just kind of like drive around the country and like get some fresh air and see the sights. We did a lot of like little day trips. What about you?
Oh, that was good. Did the cold front hit you at all? I wouldn't assume so, but did it?
Yeah, it was cold. It was like 20s and 30s. Yeah.
In Texas?
In Texas, it's getting gnarly. Well, we just had that big freeze last year.
Oh, that is true. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like everybody was like panicked about it for a minute. Yeah, but what about you? What did you do for the holidays? Because you were in Colorado.
I was already in Colorado when we did that stream. But yeah, it was good. I, was at my parents' house. There were a lot of people in our house. It was like me, my parents, my brothers, and then our other family. Was like my other mother, and then my other brother, and then my two sisters didn't show up because they're lame. I'm kidding. Flights were wild. Flights are wild, as you know, if you're a
Mhm.
person who was trying to
Oh
fly
my
off, or
gosh,
especially if you're trying to
yes.
fly Southwest. I'm sure it was like a whole, like, a whole walk. But it was good, It was like, are you okay with
Oh,
that?
everybody's got a pet on the stream but me.
You know what that means, Ever?
I gotta get a pet.
You have to get a dog or a
I
cat,
gotta
a
get a dog.
turtle, a rock, something. But it was a good holiday. It was a really good holiday. It's always nice going home because like I live by myself, and so but my house is always full during the holidays, so it's nice to get like socialization.
Yeah.
But it
How
was
many
really good.
Christmas trees did y'all have again?
We had 2 this
Okay.
year. However, my father, we have like this really big evergreen tree in our front yard, and my
Oh,
dad this year was like, maybe I'll have them string up some lights on that one, and we'll have 3. Like, all right, well, I think that's a little much, don't you?
But they
Like,
did it?
no, he's planning on it. He's like, maybe I'll plan for next year. I was like, okay, well, good luck with that, I guess.
Our neighbor does that, and it's so exciting because it's about to be the holidays. It's this huge old redwood, and they have a whole climbing crew go up, and then they like a few days before Thanksgiving until they just
Wow.
started taking it down.
Yeah, wow.
It's like a huge giant Christmas tree or a holiday tree. And the fun thing about that is that they use their leaf blowers to blow all the limbs and pine needles right onto my sidewalk. And
I'm saying right now, Mom and Dad, if you're watching this, don't get any ideas, all right? Leave it alone. Leave that tree by
no, do it.
Don't leave it alone.
Do it. I'm a big fan for that. Get a 12-foot skeleton, dress it up as Santa.
The 12-foot skeleton, I love. Now that's something I can get behind all the time. I will say though, sometimes when I go home, it's like sometimes I feel like I needed a vacation from the vacation. You come
100%.
back a fully different type of exhausted. And so I've been trying to work out how I do like decompress. Did you do anything to decompress after like you got back?
I got back like the 29th. So I kind of had a few nights before New Year's Eve.
Right.
And in Los Angeles, I mean, today it's not raining, but it's going to start raining again. It rained so much that the entire block was without electricity.
Oh yeah, the mudslides.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about those. I saw all the footage. That was wild.
Yeah, it's been pretty wild out here, but our electricity was out until 4 a.m. from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. So we kind of just played card games by candlelight, which was really kind of fun.
House on the prairie.
Yes. Queer House on the Prairie for sure.
Queer House on the Prairie.
And like at 4 a.m. I use a sound machine app, like a sound
nice.
or like a noise, and at 4 a.m. all the lights came on. But because I still had my Bluetooth connected. So when I woke up, it was this loud and it's because it was so loud with the Bluetooth speaker that I thought I was so disoriented. I was like, there's a jet. There must be a bomb. I was like, what's that noise? Like it was gnarly.
So funny.
And I was like, oh, that's my sleep noise. That's right.
Oh
okay.
My gosh.
Just amplified by 1,000. What about you?
Well, yeah, I think I just stayed in my apartment for a little bit. I got reacquainted with my bus routes and stuff, so I went into town on the bus and train. Getting back into the motion, just kind of stretching your legs and stuff like that. But yeah, nothing too serious happened here while I'm here. I missed that whole cold front thing that is Chicago.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so I missed that whole thing. But
I will say, oh no, I wonder if we're gonna go into that. Yeah. So you're gay. One of my resolutions, I didn't do a lot of resolutions this year.
Oh yeah.
I started feeling like it was I would hold myself to these rigid, I have to meet this goal. And if I didn't, I would feel bad. So what I started to do was notice and kind of take stock of okay, this was the same resolution as last year. Maybe instead of making this a resolution, I look into ways to have actionable items to improve my life or use it as an area of instead of lifting 100 pounds, or like I'm gonna do 10 minutes of morning pages a day, being like, remember to take the time for yourself. And I'm really excited because I'm going to start learning the LA metro system because I live right by a train stop.
Oh, you're lucky. Because
Yeah.
the LA public transportation, no shade to LA. No shade.
No, it's garbage.
But it's
it's trash.
It's so bad.
Like, I looked up the times to like get here to like, I don't know, a couple miles away. It was faster for me to walk.
That's what
like,
I mean. When I was living in Burbank for like an internship, I was like, I had it in my mind that like, oh, I'll take the buses and I'll for what would have been, for what was always like a 15-minute Uber, would have been like an hour and a half to transfer bus train ordeal. I was like, what is this?
Trash.
What is this?
It's trash.
Golly, dude.
Wait, why were you in Burbank?
I had an internship when I was in college at a production studio one summer, and so I was just out there. It was a really good time, but yeah, commuting was like no joke. I didn't have a car, so I was just kind of like, and that was when Uber Pool was still working, when they still had Uber Pool, so that was nice because then it would like cut the cost in half, and I would only pay like $8 a day.
It's so funny to think about Uber Pool now, and also like being so silly and young and just getting into an Uber Pool at 3 a.m. in Chicago. Strangers. Knowing where you're going.
Is like strangers. Uber is strangers.
But a car full of strangers?
But a car collective. I remember one time I got out, like somebody got out and she had been kind of like rude or whatever. And she got a car and my Uber driver immediately turned around and started talking gossip to me about her. Like, can you believe her? Da, 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 da. We just gossiped about it all the time. That was a very fun time.
Oh my gosh.
I
love that.
Also, MLK Day.
Yes.
Wow. Shout out to MLK.
Really. Did you see the new bronze statue that was unveiled?
I did. Not a huge fan of the statue, but I love the sentiment.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah. I love the sentiment.
Of course. Yes.
I at first when I saw a thumbnail of it, I was like, what?
I was like, what am I looking at? I was like, what am I looking at?
And I was like, this is queer art for sure. And then I was like, MLK. Yeah. Because then I was like reading, and then they showed another angle of the statue, and I was like, I get it.
I think it has to be photographed from a specific angle. I think you need to look at it from a specific angle in order to really see it. Because all the angles I got at first, I was like, I genuinely don't know what I'm looking at. I really don't know what I'm looking at all.
I don't want to say what I think I'm looking at.
Right. So I was like, okay, but we love a tribute to Martin Luther King.
Yes, 100%. We also you also kind of have to know the photograph.
It's true, because I didn't know what it was based off photography wise either until I saw the photograph. I was like, oh, okay, I see.
Yeah. Did you do anything fun for MLK?
Usually what I try to do is like read a little bit like about his life or one of his speeches or things like that. And so I think I watched this animated movie about Martin Luther King that they show in like public. Oh, something happened.
You know what? No, tech is hard. It's fine.
Tech is hard. It's fine. Don't
worry about it, y'all.
Can everybody still hear me? Oh, thank you, Lazy Gnome. I got it from Forever 21 like years ago.
Oh my God! Be safe Ubering, y'all. Oh yeah, we're gonna.
Make sure you send your location to somebody. I always do. I'm like, I'm in this Uber. I'm giving you the information. Da, 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 da.
Oh no! I can't not do that now.
No. It be safe. Most Ubers are fine. Most Ubers are actually very nice people. But never hurts to be safe. Never hurts. What do you do for MLK Day? You do anything fun ever?
Yes, I'm also having a tech is hard moment because I can't see the whole chat.
Okay.
I know, y'all. I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
But I also did just like a lot of reading. I've really started getting in. I think we talked about it, like queer nonfiction, queer history, and also like reading about the history of the time of like MLK and Malcolm X and their different approaches.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really taking it all in, like the hate and the segregation and the uphill battle, and really realizing this wasn't that long ago.
No, exactly. I think about it a lot. Martin Luther King was only 39 when he was assassinated.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't even 40 years old. I think people think of him as being a lot older than he was. And I think people think of a lot of civil rights figures as being a lot older than they were, and it being a lot farther away from where we are now. And it really isn't, in a lot of respects. I mean, I feel the same way about the AIDS crisis. You know, like I think people have really created a lot of historical distance that just frankly doesn't exist. I mean, we're barely a half a century out. You know what I mean? Like not even.
Yeah.
And some people are like, this was so long ago. And they really, really wasn't. It's barely a lifetime. Not even. It's like half.
I know. It's also like really hard now, like, as you educate yourself and learn about different things that have happened in history, and you see someone that's lived through that history, like the older I get, the more I'm like, oh my God, like,
yeah, you were there.
You were there and you lived through this, and you had to face, you know, whether it be like segregation, why we honor MLK, and like the fight for civil rights, or the AIDS crisis. And it just feels like just much more respect.
Of course. Yeah, definitely. I think also it's like, that's why it's important to talk to your elders. You know, I feel like a lot of people take for granted talking to older queer people, but we lost so much of our history through the AIDS crisis, and so it's really important to always be able to talk to older queer people whenever you can about their experiences in the world, just because like they're not really recorded. You know what I mean? Like there's not. I think a lot of people discount it. Like there isn't really a lot of archives for queerness, at least from like a film perspective. Like it's very hard to find archives. And so, you know, it's really important to pass that knowledge down however we can. Yeah.
I'm here. I was also trying to get this chat to work.
I'm seeing everyone. But while you're doing that, I'm
so sorry. I was present with you and I agreed with like all of you, and I'm like, oh
no. This is what tech is hard, dude. And like, although we are.
Okay, hang on. Your dad just popped in the chat. I did just see that.
So
how married she and her brothers got during the holidays with my liquor cabinet.
This is a PG show, sir. I need you to exit out of this chat. You're so.
What was in your liquor cabinet?
None of anybody's business. It's having some jolly. I thought the holiday was supposed to be jolly. You know what I mean?
My family had never had an old fashioned before, so I kept making my uncle old fashions, and he got very merry.
You're a menace.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It truly was. Anyways, okay,
we really chatted. We're gonna move along. But thank you guys so much for joining us, and we are gonna mix things up a little bit now. The show is gonna look a little different going into this new year, 2023.
I'm really excited.
Yeah, so we're gonna be playing with the structure a little bit every show, seeing what works, what doesn't. But right now, we're going to go into Thriving and Enlivening with It Gets Better project. And we're going to be looking at a segment called Drag. Analytical teaches coding in drag for their newest series, Industry STEM.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
And finally get to interact with people when I'm in drag and be coding in drag, which is iconic. I'm Billy, I'm 28 years old, and I am a software engineer. Software engineering means that I write code, I build applications, I connect people together online and around the world. I loved tech when I was growing up. I had dabbled in coding on like Neopets and Second Life and played with making some like HTML web pages, but it wasn't until maybe like I was 17 or 18 that I actually started writing code and started to see a path for myself in software engineering or coding as things that were accessible to me. The area I work on is within databases under Google Cloud, and it's my job to help people who want to use the cloud databases, help them understand how to use them. You really can see a lot of the world is the same, especially like in an app. One of the common tropes or design principles of an app is like CRUD: create, read, update, delete. So look at YouTube. If you've got videos, you can create a video, you can read them, you can watch those videos, you can update them, like update the descriptions on them or update it by adding a comment. And if you don't like that video, you can also just delete it. That's a format that can help you build something that will connect a lot of people and build something that's really successful. Analytical was born. So I think I was started by seeking out queer community. I think I was just with some friends and they were kind of all talking about drag race. I was like, oh, I think there's something here that I kind of like. It's a bit of a blank slate. With drag, you have so many different directions you can go. But I was starting to think of like, okay, how do I bring the thing that's unique to me to the drag? And that's kind of when everything clicked. I was like, oh, I want to engage people with this thing so they realize this is a tech, and coding is something I want to learn because it is interesting, it is dynamic, it is a way I can impact the world. And I wanted to show LGBTQ plus people all of these things and then start giving them the tools to learn and start pointing them in the direction. So I made my first video with that message of,
if we do not take part in building the technology around us, then we will not be represented in it.
And now I'm 3 years in and I've kept just ever evolving everything I do. Hi, I'm Analytical, the sickeningly entertaining and educational coding drag queen. Today, we're gonna look at a little algorithm to find the deepest shade in my contour palette so I can sculpt those cheekbones. I want someone to be nervous about taking computer science class, but have watched my videos and say, okay, I think I know enough and I can do that. Or they want to go build a website or want to go play around with some code online and they'll think, okay, I know how to do that. I've seen a little bit of that. I can finagle my way around and make something happen. I can take that class. I can solve that problem. I can build that app. Our deepest index is going to equal our current index, which is 5. DI equals 5. Bam! That's the answer we're looking for. Find contour returns index 5. Bam! Bam! I think with what I do with analytical, I push the boundary by being visible, finding ways to make change.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Honestly, it made me want to take a STEM class or a computer science class. The math of it all, feels intimidating.
Listen to me. I don't believe in stereotypes, but that whole, gays can't do math thing, that's true. At least for me it is, because I can't do it.
I mean, when they were talking about the index of 5, it just reminded me of Alice on the L Word, where she had the chart.
Yeah. Wow, you really pulled that out the memory bank. Deep cuts.
Okay, but I do have something really exciting, and maybe we'll talk about it when we bring Frank on.
Yeah. Cool. All right, we'll put a pin on that because I saw in the chat that we had someone asking for like _cute.
Yeah.
Well said, hey guys, so I'm trans and I have not told my dad or my mom yet, so I don't know what to do honestly. But if I tell them, I honestly think they will not support me. So I think It's Better Project gave them a really good piece of advice. And I think it's just good to reiterate that like you don't have to come out if you don't feel safe to come out, if you don't think that you're going to have the resources to be able to support yourself or be able to be who you are without being also under duress, or being like, put through harmful
misery.
treatment.
Yeah.
Essentially. So you don't have to. That doesn't make you any less trans. That doesn't mean that you can't like go through your trans journey.
Exactly. And also, like, sometimes I can't speak for everybody. I can't speak for every family. I don't know your experience. Sometimes people will surprise you, or as you're growing, you're also informing and educating someone else. But that being said, if it's not a safe place, if you don't feel like they're going to support you and love you in the way that you need and the way that you deserve, start small. Start by telling like a best friend or a guidance counselor. If you feel safe at school, like with a therapist, start educating yourself as well, with books. You know, and I know this is going to sound silly. Pinterest. You're like, it's almost like a manifesting board, a digital manifesting board. Like that's what's helped me with like top surgery and like goals.
Yeah, I make vision boards from Pinterest all the time.
And like as you're growing and as like you're moving into a different aspect of your life, into a more natural aspect of your life, in a way you still have this board of like your dreams or the things that you want to accomplish, and your truest trans self and who you are, like, because sometimes like the people that we love can say the hardest and meanest things, and when you have that reminder mentally, and then you can go back and you can see and get your friends to write down like how much they love you and support you. So when you have those just attacks, you then have something to read, something to remember, something to go like, you know what, you feel that way, but here are my goals. Like, this is my vision board. And that's helped me. I hope that helps you.
Yeah, definitely.
And start writing a love letter to yourself every day. And that goes for everybody.
Yeah, journaling is really helpful. Writing to yourself. I write emails to myself, and I like.
Oh, Taylor, I like that.
Choose times, send them. Yeah, and like I always forget. My short-term memory is horrible, so I always forget that I did it, and then I'll like send it for like a random date or a date that like matters. Like I have one set, I think, for like when I'm done with this last year of coursework in graduate school.
I would
That's what I'm saying. But I got an email that I had sent from the past summer at the beginning of the school year this year, and it was really, really nice. And I was like, wow, it really felt like I was getting an email from a different person, because I had really changed so much, and like my perspective on a lot of things had changed. And some perspectives that stay the same, but it was really like a really nice check-in with myself to like really like take stock of like how much has changed, or like how much I've grown as a person. And so like that's something you could do too.
I really like that. I wouldn't have thought about schedule sending.
It's fun. It's like a little note for the best.
Yeah. Well, speaking of little notes
of reading.
Speaking of reading.
Speaking of that, like Ever mentioned, like, literature really helps a lot of queer people try to figure out like where they're located in the world. And lucky for you guys, our special guest this week is FrankThePegasus.
Yes.
They are going to be talking to us about all of their favorite, queer novels, queer literature. We're just going to have a conversation about, queer books and queer reading, things like that. So, without further ado, let's get into our Friends of the Family segment.
If you're managing to just find our stream for the first time today, that's not a way to greet people. Oh, no. No goat sounds like it should be making that sound. They just look at you and they go, ah! You want sex, you don't want sex. Like, all of that is completely normal. That's why I'm happy to talk about it. This is a support community, so we are going to be supportive. Your size and your face and your skin color and your gender and your sexuality, none of that determines your worth. None of that makes you less worthy of love. Not only are you loved, it's a gay heart! Not only are you absolutely loved. Oh, I don't like this. Well, she got a nice booty, though. Maybe I do like this. By people here and by people in your life, you are absolutely loved, but you are fully worthy of that love. Do you ever think, like, what if somebody just clicked on my stream and the first thing they heard me say was, I'm very grateful that I've driven you to farts?
Hi.
Hi, Frank.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. It's a little embarrassing to watch an intro video about myself, but
Oh, it's always embarrassing to watch yourself.
yeah, it's really, really wonderful to be here.
Oh my gosh, we can't wait to have you. Ooh, I feel like I'm about to hiccup.
Yeah.
Nope, I held my breath. Frank, how are you?
I'm doing pretty okay. I'm a little sick, a little under the weather, so we're gonna truck on through, but I'm really excited to talk about books. I need your reading list, Ever. It sounds like you've been doing a lot of nonfiction reading, which is one of my biggest like reading goals for this year is to add more nonfiction into my situation. So I need your
Oh, I
reading
can
list.
also help you. I'm taking
Yeah,
a queer
Taylor,
theory
I'm like,
class. I'm taking a queer theory class this quarter, and we are really deep in the theory.
Please
Ooh,
share your list.
Yeah,
Please.
absolutely. I will send it to both of you.
okay, I do have something very silly to share, and it
Yes.
goes along with queer theory.
Yes.
So I was like registering for classes for Pasadena City College, and I was going to go back for like some kinesiology classes, like weightlifting, and then they have like a gender theories, like associate's degree in gender theory. So I was clicking through it, getting ready to sign up for classes, seeing what fit. And then they said, are you like, there's a thing, it's like, are you interested in athletics or joining a team? And I was like, yeah, of course. I want to throw shot put and discus. And without even trying out, I got an email saying practice starts on Monday at 3 p.m. And
Well, all right. Congrats. Welcome to the team.
Thanks.
Yeah, shoot up.
I mean, I do have to call Pasadena Community College coach, Coach Innocent, back because I technically haven't registered for classes, but I do really want to be on a collegiate sport team.
Wow. That's wild that they were like, you didn't even, they were like, yep, suit on up, get your pads on.
I'm a
going out
student
there."
athlete. I'm a student athlete.
I would have had such a crush on you.
Yeah, I'm a jock
I
now.
presented there once.
Pasadena City College? Oh gosh.
Wait, are we having a technology is hard moment?
I think we might be. Is it just
Oh,
you and me?
no. I think Taylor left the.
That's what happens on your birthday. You just vanish.
I did not know it was their birthday. I'm so upset that I didn't realize. So, happy birthday. You're not even here to hear it, but happy birthday. Oh no, we missed
Taylor went to go get pizza. She'll be back. How are you? How was your day?
Day was good. I'm trying to like I said, stay kind of peppy and stay in it, but having a good time regardless. So I'm excited to talk about some books with you. The only I think nonfiction book I haven't actually read it yet. I have two. I just picked up "Come as You Are" by Emily Nagoski, which isn't technically queer, because it is I think more so instead about just sex and orgasms and things like that.
I like the name then. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it's technically queer, and in fact, I think it really focuses on like cis sex in particular. But I am still really excited because I think inherently reading about sex is kind of a queer thing.
Oh, 100%.
And then the other book that I picked up recently as nonfiction was Bad Gays because I've heard nothing but the most fantastic things about it.
I keep trying to get Bad Gays.
Can you not find it anywhere?
Well, it's like I like to rent. I like to rent from my library.
From the library. I'm a big library fan.
Yeah, I love it. We got to utilize our libraries. I've been reading The Queer History of the United States.
Oh, I want to read that one too.
It's so like it's like a textbook, it's like reading a textbook, but it literally dates back from Puritans, like the very beginning of
nice.
And it's fascinating to know and to be reminded and to fully understand gay people, we've been here. Queer
Yes.
people, we've been here.
All of that. Absolutely.
There
That
was-
sounds like
Queer communities all over the it wasn't the United States then, but they were
Right.
queer.
right. Does it talk then about a lot about like two-spirited folks and indigenous folks, or is it mostly coming from like the, I guess, colonization white perspective?
It's starting to get to two spirits and other
Oh, nice.
like native beliefs
Yeah.
and I guess but right now it's very, I will say it is very white, which is kind of bothersome. When reading it, I'm like, well, I feel like we're giving these people kind of like a pass, even though they're doing a really bad thing.
Yeah.
And then also it's kind of talking about the messed up history of the United States, which I like because
Yeah.
it's like being confronted and
Yeah.
holding
Absolutely.
people
Yeah.
accountable. Anyways,
That's exciting. No.
Okay, I'm really excited because I don't really read nonfiction anymore. And the list that you gave us is incredible.
I tried. Okay, this is literally like, it's not every queer novel that I read last year, but it is a lot of the queer stuff that I read last year. So we're gonna touch on single thing on this list, but I know that there were a couple. Welcome back, Taylor.
Oh, Taylor.
Yeah, we can see
Yes. Oh no.
Oh, yay. Well,
Talk about books.
we're just talking about books. We're
Cool.
nerding out about books. Nothing too exciting.
Oh, speaking of, I forgot to say during the intro. It Gets Better Project. You guys sent me this really nice gift for my birthday. It's really sweet. It's called New Sons: Original Speculative Fiction by people of color, and I think there are like a few queer stories. Yeah.
Got me immediately looking this up and probably adding it to my TBR for this.
Yeah, dude.
I love speculative fiction so much.
It's so fun.
It's so
I
much
took a
fun.
whole
Yeah.
Black speculative fiction course last year, and I don't really like divvy into literature by virtue of like being a film student. So this was a really fun course. We read so many interesting things. It really like kickstarted my love for nonfiction reading again.
Have you read? This isn't. I mean, it's not nonfiction, but When Women Could Fly.
No.
It is a speculative horror. This is also actually. Is it queer? Might be. I can't remember.
It all blends together eventually.
It might be vaguely queer. I think the main character is bisexual, now that I'm thinking about it. But It is
Nice.
basically this idea that like women had to it's speculative horror, so like keep that in mind. But it's basically this idea that women had to be like married off by a certain age because of like magic and witchcraft in their blood. And if they weren't like essentially owned by a man who would like take responsibility for any of their actions by a certain age, they were like jailed and taken away. And it is incredible. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, okay, I'm writing that down.
I think it would just make me upset.
Yeah.
It was definitely upsetting. It was definitely very upsetting.
I kind of love books like that though, where the whole time you're just mad. You're like, I can't believe this is happening.
Yep.
What are we doing here?
It does a really great job of it, like the main character kind of exploring this idea of like not wanting to be part of that system, but still needing to be part of that system to simply survive. And it is, I love books like that are just like, oh, you're right, and I hate it, but you're right.
Yeah, you have to do this thing. Like there's no other recourse but for you to do this thing. I do want to say before we get into the actual literature, I wanted to pose this like conversational piece of whether or not this is a universal experience. The people in the chat, please let me know. But fan fiction was like my introduction to like queer literature, so to speak. In that, like,
I think
because
that's really common. I was just gonna say, I think that's really common because we didn't. When I was growing up, like the stuff that I read now, I'm like, this didn't exist. I know this didn't exist because I was always a voracious reader, and I never saw myself represented in books like this. And some of the stuff that we'll talk about is YA. So it's like for a younger audience, which is so great.
Yeah.
Literally, one of the ones that you were like, I really want to talk about that. It's called Iron Widow by Ziranje Zhao, and it's fantastic. It's like this anime mech novel. So if you like that kind of vibe,
Yeah,
it's
I
like
do.
sci-fi. It's like sci-fi mech. The main character is one of the most like vicious female characters I think I've ever encountered ever in a book.
Bro.
I absolutely adore her. But the biggest thing about it, there's non-binary rep in it. Like one of the characters is not explicitly on page non-binary, but very like talked about in a very non-binary way. And then the biggest thing for me was that there was polyamorous rep in it. Like it is
When I was looking at the list, I was like, polyam,
right?
I
In
have
a
not seen that
YA
in
novel, like
literature.
in YA.
Because
I'm
all
sorry.
we got were vampires.
Yeah, we got vampires.
It's vampires. I had to make up the homoeroticism in my brain and pretend like it was there.
Exactly. No,
Yes.
it's amazing. Like when I realized that there was like an actual love triangle, not like the love triangle that they try to like
No, I hate
Bill.
that. Like the PETA, Gale.
Yeah.
It's a V. That's a V.
Right.
This is
That's trying-
actual.
We're all in love with each other.
Yes, it's so good. It's so good. I definitely recommend it. It's I didn't know this going in, so now you will know going in that it is part of a series. The second book comes out this year. So,
okay, so
I did not know that there's a huge cliffhanger at the end of it.
Okay,
Were you upset?
Maybe I'll wait till the second one comes out because I can't do that. Actually,
yeah, I was because I was like, I thought it was a standalone, and I like to know when a series is incomplete going into it, so I can like mentally prepare that I'm not going to know the end of the story. Right. And I thought it was a standalone, and I was like,
oh, I would have been so upset.
It broke my heart.
I wouldn't be able to breathe.
There's nothing worse than reading a book that's a part of a series and then the other book is not done yet. Yeah. Like, what do you mean it's not done? What do you mean?
I was going to say the other one that you were like highlighting on that list is a complete duology. So if you're like, I need to go into something and know that it is, I'm going to get the full story right here on page right now. The Six of Crows duology starts with the Six of Crows, and then the second one is Crooked Kingdom, and it's just those two books. There are other books that you'll see that's in the quote unquote Grishaverse, but the Six of Crows is a complete duology. You really don't need to read any of the other books. You might be familiar with the Grishaverse from like the Shadow and Bone series because it was on Netflix. It got adapted into
that sounds so familiar.
Okay, yeah, so that was an adaptation, and actually some of the characters from Six of Crows are in the Netflix adaptation, which is so interesting now having read all of those because they're very separate stories. But
really interesting.
But yeah, Six of Crows has a few different queer, like it's very like found family, so inherently you just kind of feel like a big hug. Yes, it's really, really lovely. But there are some queer characters in it. There's a gay couple specifically in it. But it also has really great disability rep. One of the main characters is disabled, which I also love. Like it's just actually there's disability rep in Iron Widow too, now that I'm thinking about it. Well, the main character is also disabled in Iron Widow.
Nice. I love representation.
Are you gonna say that? You gotta cut me off when talking about books.
I'm here for this because I have another question. You ever read the Redwall series?
Yes. Oh my god, I love the Redwall series.
There's no way that series isn't queer.
What is that?
Oh my god. And badgers, but they're like warriors.
Yeah, there's like this little. Oh my god, oh god. Now that you say it, that makes so much sense.
I always thought the badger was gay.
Yeah, for sure.
I was in my little queer mind in rural Texas. I was like I would check them all out and like devour them in a weekend. I would read like haul up on like a Saturday and finish one of these books. And in my mind, I was like, this badger is gay. I had no other reason to be like, it must have been like the subtext.
No, my mind, like, I want to go back and reread them just to see like, is there a subtext? Because that is so true with so many books, like from our, because it wasn't as safe, right, to write queer characters.
No,
and so there was a lot of like subtext, which I think is like to bring it back around to fan fiction. I think that's why a lot of fan fiction was born, was because we were reading these relationships that weren't explicitly on page, but we were like, I don't know, we see it.
I will say some of the very first fan fiction was based on Star Trek, and it was between Spock and Captain Kirk.
Yes,
and now there was a recent interview, and they were like, had we been able to get away with it at that time, oh, they would have definitely been in love together.
I just saw that too, and I'm like,
and
yeah,
I was like,
absolutely.
I know it.
We knew.
You didn't have to say it, but thank you for giving us the
We
validation
always
and the
knew.
vindication. We always knew that they were meant to be boyfriends. Thank you so much. Thank you
Make
so
them
much for letting us
kiss.
know.
Make them.
Yeah, make them kiss.
Make him kiss.
No.
Rich gaze. Rich science gaze.
Rich
Mm.
outer
Mhm.
space
Mhm.
Rich outer space gaze.
Yes. That's the title I want. That's the title I want.
I don't know that I can give you rich outer space gaze. Actually, there was a book. I wasn't going to bring this up, but there was a book that was on this list that I had to take off because of the HarperCollins union strike. So if you didn't already know, HarperCollins is their union is currently on strike because they're asking for livable wages. So go support them. But one of the things that they asked is that we don't review books publicly. But I'll send you the title after this.
I would love to see it.
So.
You know what I was upset about as young adult? Have you read the graphic novel series Saga?
No.
What's that about?
It's by Brian K. Vaughan, and I believe there's a co-writer.
Mhm.
And it's just this beautiful sci-fi kind of romance story, and there are different aliens. And I was reading this, and the whole time I was like, oh my God, I'm so invested in this series, but there's no queer representation. That's what I really want to talk about.
That's so lame, because it's like, when it
know.
comes to things like mythology or space travel or even time travel, it's like, I mean, Ever, you've heard my stance on this before. I really believe immortals and mythical creatures and shapeshifters.
They're all gay.
Shapeshifters, they're all gay.
They have
Edith
to be.
Wharton knew it.
They have to be.
I mean, especially immortals. I'm sorry, if you're an
Right.
immortal being, you're
not going to try it once.
Oh,
you're going to tell me that you're not going to try
Maybe
it?
not
Like,
twice.
What?
you had a full life with a lover.
Right.
That you
had
have.
like
Okay, that actually reminds me of The Magicians. I don't know if you all are familiar with this show, but there's
I know a few magicians,
familiar-
and they are
yeah,
not to be
I am familiar
trusted.
with the show, yeah.
there's a subplot in The Magician show that has like two characters getting together because they like have an entire there's an episode that just is a montage of their like life in this like separate realm, I guess.
Dimension?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
that's
they
interesting.
like fall in love and have an entire lifetime and then get rescued as like old men basically, and like then have to go back, like they have all of their memories and they have to like go back into real life, quote unquote, and it's just like,
How do you get back? How do you reverse?
Anyway,
don't
I
like
read
that.
The Magician's book that show was based on, and it has none of that. So,
Whoa.
it did not make the list.
Ooh,
Wow.
that's actually so intense.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
can you imagine living your full life with someone and then getting to do it over?
But like they had other partners when they left. Like they had other people that they were with. So it was like,
Awkward.
yeah, it was very like they had to like have like it's a lot. I highly
Yeah, 'cause
recommend.
what do you
Well,
even
I don't know if
say?
I highly recommend the show. The show's not great. But
I've seen like clips of
Good
the
time.
magicians that are like, some of it I'm like, sometimes I'm like, oh, this looks like something I watch. Other times I'm like, maybe not.
Mhm. Yeah, it does an alright time.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, that's really lame, Ever. I think, like, what's the harm?
Yeah.
What's the harm of
You
having a
draw
little
the
gay
line at
kiss?
queer people. There's like vampires and aliens and things, but you draw the line at queer people.
You can't have a queer
I
alien?
definitely give a side eye to anytime I'm reading fantasy where the world is particularly like cis, straight,
White.
white.
Even Colossus.
When there are no brown people in your fantasy, you look insane. I'm so sorry to say this to you.
Yeah, or the token brown people are like,
the
killed off for the
villains.
plot.
Yes.
They're the villains. They're
Or that.
savages.
There's so many.
Semitism.
Yeah, you did not push your imagination hard enough.
Not at all. Because first of all, you don't even got to put homophobia in your stuff.
We already know it.
That's the other thing. It's like, it's always weird to me when they create some sort of like base homophobia or fantasy racism, and it's like, you didn't have to include any of that in the first place.
Yeah.
Why? It's like, that's you. Wait a minute.
Like, because in my speculative fiction class, we talked about this a lot, because the reason that I took it was to just think about like how representation can be radical and how it can be transformative and everything like that. And like, what's transformative is thinking about and building story worlds without the oppression. Like how do you build outside of something that shapes the world around us in reality so like covertly but so like stringently, and
Yes.
building a story outside of that parameter, building a story that doesn't rely on those systems of oppression being like replicated. That's what's like generative and radical about literature, about queer literature.
Especially if you do still want there to be some kind of like conflict between two nations or something like that in the book. I think that there are ways to do it. And actually, I think Priory of the Orange Tree, if you haven't read it, does it very, very
Mm,
well. It is
okay.
high fantasy with
Ooh.
lesbians and dragons.
High fantasy lesbian dragons.
Yes, it is like everything that you want out of a high fantasy. It's like yum, 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 yum. It's so good. But the racism and homophobia are not part of it. Like there is a little bit of like classism that you see because there's a little bit of like forbidden love that happens because there's a literal queen trying to maybe
Right.
seduce or be with a handmaiden kind of thing happening.
Oh.
But it has
Oh.
nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with the fact that they're gay. That's
Got it.
not really a piece of it.
Yeah.
But the conflict between the nations really comes from like almost like a religious or like a faith kind of background. They
That's
believe different
interesting.
things about the origins of the dragons and the meaning of the dragons, and like that kind of fuels the conflict there. And yeah, it was very good. That one feels really intimidating if you are a person who has seen that book before. It is a chonky book.
But high fantasy always is, because the
Yeah,
world building is always wild.
it's a casual 800 pages,
Oh!
but the margins are really big and the pages are really thick, so it seems a lot bigger than it is. And also it is a standalone. So like you're just like
Taylor
done.
Pace.
I was about to pass out. Well,
Yeah.
Breaking Dawn was like 750 pages.
That's just it is
And
like
I read that in like a week, maybe.
I could recommend some series that are like 8 books long and each one of them is 500-600 pages.
Yes.
So like, 800
Keep me
pages
busy.
is it's broken up into books also. It's broken up, I think, into 6 different parts. You could very easily like kind of
Lilac
pace.
Fox said it stared at
Mhm.
them for
Yeah.
6 months before they started.
Oh my gosh.
It'd be like that. Yeah, that's the other thing is like I'll
Mhm.
see books that I like and I'll be like, oh, let me buy this. But that's why I got a library card. I
Mhm.
was like, I have to stop buying books.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out to the library.
It's too expensive. I don't have enough room. This bookshelf is full. I have another bookshelf over here. It's full. I don't have any more wall space.
I read way too much to be buying every single book that I read. So now I have started doing a thing where I like buy trophy books of books that I've already
Oh.
read and loved that I think I'm going to want to reread.
I
So
like that.
I think
I've
I
never
thought-
heard of them called trophy books, but it really makes sense. And it's like, oh yeah.
I'm like, I already read this. It's just
And you
for me
get
to like
special edition ones and really pretty ones too.
Yeah.
Or like sometimes I'm like, I just really like the cover for this one, so I'm going to purchase this one.
I think like also if you read a book and you don't ever think you're gonna reread it, just donate it.
Yes.
Donate your books, you guys. Like seriously,
Mhm.
like donate your
Mhm.
books. Professors at my school all the time. Listen, if you want books and you go to a university that allows people to just be in and out of campus and whatever, get into one of those buildings. Just patronize the halls of the offices, and I guarantee you will find boxes and boxes of books on subjects that you've never even heard of, and I just be collecting them. And I have a what is that? A constitutional law textbook up there.
That's
For no
nice.
reason. It's just a nice book, and
Have you read it?
I have read parts of it. Yes. I'm like, what does this mean?
I'm impressed.
I'm very impressed.
That up.
You never know what kind of knowledge you might need, you guys.
Mm-mm.
That's very true. That's
I
very
just felt
true.
like Ron Burgundy. I'm very impressed. I'm Ron Burgundy.
I haven't
As
watched that
you
movie
should
forever.
be.
I'm going to rewatch that this weekend.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
That
actually.
movie is very silly.
Yeah.
Well, Frank, what are you reading right now?
Yeah.
I actually just finished this morning a horror book called The Hacienda, which was not gay. But it was really great. It was one of the first horror books I've ever read that actually scared me, which was nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a haunted house, like gothic horror. But it also is like an Are You Afraid of the Dark kind of
Love
vibe.
it.
Like
Yeah,
everything
check it
happens
out.
in the dark. And I am an adult who uses a nightlight. So I slept with the light on last night.
Listen,
Yes.
there's no
You have
shame in
to.
that. There's no shame in that. I
no
took a
shame.
horror. I took a horror in literature class my freshman year, and some of those books, had me up. I was like, all right, I can't sleep. This
Mhm.
isn't gonna
Yeah.
ever happen. This is not
I'm not
gonna
a
happen.
I'm not a big horror reader, but this one was scary. This one was
I love
legitimately
a good
scary.
horror. I love a good horror.
And then I don't know, I'm a multiple book at a time person. So
Okay.
I picked
Okay.
up,
Really? I
yeah,
can only read one book at a time.
I used to be like that, but then I don't know, I changed my ways, I guess. I can't,
Proud
I
of
do
you.
like 3 or 4 at a time usually. So I just picked up The Empire of Pain, which follows the Purdue Pharma family, the family
Okay.
that founded Purdue Pharma and started
Now
the
that's a
opiate
horror book.
epidemic.
Okay.
That is a
Yeah,
horror book. I am
that's a
very
horror
scared to read
book.
it. And I just checked out Beloved by Toni Morrison, which will be my first Toni Morrison book.
Oh my gosh, Frank. Okay,
I'm
when
so
you're
excited.
done, when you're done, DM me on Twitter. I know we just followed each other. DM me on Twitter and give me your thoughts. That's like one of my favorite books. Like, after you're done that one, you should read Sula, which is like her Black lesbian fiction book. Like a
Yes.
lot of Black lesbians from like the 90s. Like that's like to them like a seminal text. And then you
Nice.
should also read Songs of Solomon. That one is
Mm-hmm.
so.
I just want to read everything she's ever written, so I'm here
Oh,
for it.
she's a freaking magician.
Her
I love
and
it.
Octavia E. Butler. I read the first Octavia E. Butler book. I read
What did you
Kindred last
read?
year.
Y'all, Taylor is freaking out.
Kindred should be required reading, is all I will say. Again,
Listen,
not queer, but fantastic. Like,
all of
Yeah.
these people want to write the dystopian novel. You know, they really want to. Octavia E. Butler, she's the one that got it right.
yeah, that
She
book
got
is
it right.
Kindred. Truly, it just got an adaptation on Hulu, which I thought was
Mhm.
pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see what they do with the second season.
Yeah, I haven't gotten
This first season only follows like the first half of the book, but
okay.
I'm excited to see what they do with the second season because I think that's where it gets spicy for people who
Yeah.
look like me. So I'm curious to see what they
I'm
do
so
with
excited for you.
it. But yeah,
What a
Kindred
journey.
really should be required reading for everyone. It is
Yeah.
amazing,
It's just
absolutely
really
amazing.
good.
Probably one of my favorite books I read last year. So yeah,
Well, Frank, thank you so much for joining us today.
thank you for having
taking
me.
time and like thank you,
Yeah.
especially since you don't feel super well. We really
Oh, you're
appreciate
so
you
Yeah.
sweet.
taking time
Thank
for
you.
us. Yeah.
I do my best.
Oh, what's the queerest thing in your room right now?
Yeah, it looks pretty. It looks pretty
It
gay
looks pretty.
from where I'm
It
standing.
looks pretty gay.
It looks pretty gay.
pretty queer.
Probably my glow in the dark wind up penis that hops around.
Yes.
Where do gay people get these knickknacks from?
I have no idea where I got that. I've had that forever.
What? I can see it in my mind's eye.
I don't feel like I can show it on stream. I'm
No,
pretty
you
sure it's
can't, but
against
I
No,
can
you
see
copyright.
it.
probably can't.
I have a mental image in my brain. I can see it in here.
Honestly,
It's
a
really
perfect
fun.
gift. It would
Yeah.
just be
Yeah.
a perfect gift.
It just bounces. It's a good guy.
So funny. I love that. That's so funny.
Yes, inappropriate. Do not show that on air.
Mhm.
Do not show that. Frank, for those of our friends that are just meeting you, where can they find you online?
I'm at FrankThePegasus everywhere. So if you follow me on Twitch or Twitter, those are the places that I'm most active. But FrankThePegasus, all one word, easy to find.
Nice.
When are your shows on Twitch?
Yeah, what do you stream?
When do you
I-
broadcast? When do you stream?
I stream Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday at 11 a.m. Central, which is noon Eastern.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Frank. I
Yeah.
hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bye.
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 I love Frank.
Ah, wow, I really need to get my book game up.
I'm jazzed up right now.
Yeah, dude. Now I'm like, wow, I'm gonna read this book that we could better send me. Now I feel like I'm in a reading mood.
I know. Where are you gonna go eat tonight?
I'm not going out nowhere. It's dark.
Okay.
It's
You're
dark
right.
outside.
It's dark.
I can't show y'all my window, but it is pitch black outside, and it
I
is
forget.
only 6 o'clock.
That's what I was gonna say. That it's 6 o'clock
It's 6
and it's winter. Also, but before we go, I do want to talk about the oh my god, 50
Take your
grants in the 50 grants in 50 states.
Mhm.
That It Gets Better has been there's really wonderful grant initiatives supporting LGBTQ plus students called 50 Grants in 50 States, 5,000 voices. The It Gets Better grants up to $10,000 to each of at least one middle school or high school in the United States, which is incredible, including the U.S. territories, and a fun project that uplifts and supports the well-being of local LGBTQ plus students. And this year, oh my God, this is so exciting. This year, the project will expand into Canada under the name It Gets Better Youth Grants. With grants awarded to at least one middle school or high school in every Canadian province and territory, you can learn more about doing, oh my God, you can learn more about it by doing the exclamation point 5050 command in the chat. I'm going to say that again. Doing the exclamation point 5050 command in the chat. That's going to give you some more info. I got really excited reading that.
Yeah, I didn't know they were expanding to Canada. That's so
I know.
dope.
I really wish that my school had that in high school.
I don't think we didn't have like a GSA until like my senior year of high school.
I think too, to the person who had the question about coming out trans to your parents, I think that might be something good to look into for your community and perhaps the school that you're attending. Like this might be a great way to, if you don't have a support system or a community there,
to build.
You're a leader.
Yeah, yeah.
You're a leader.
I'm taking the first step of coming out to all of us here.
Yeah. So thank you so much for that.
You should be really proud of yourself. If you're still in the chat, you should be really proud of yourself for taking that step to come out to people here. And we're always going to be here to help you guys.
Be your
hopefully try to help you guys through moments like this. Definitely. Well, Ever, what are you taking away from this episode? What are you doing?
Oh gosh, I have a lot of books to read, and I think I got to get on. I think I got to reread Beloved.
I'm gonna reread it now too. I haven't read that book. I think it's been like 2 or 3 years since I've done it. Okay.
Frank started talking about that, and I'm not kidding. I just went to a faraway place.
I know.
Thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, it's gonna be really a Beloved weekend.
It's really good.
It's going to be a great. Well, maybe I'll read it on the plane. I'm going to be in San
Francisco.
Yeah. Thank you. San Francisco for a little comedy festival.
So that will be funny really and hilarious and so talented.
I'm about to have a tech is hard moment. Mainly because I just found out that my computer has not been.
Oh, not charging. Tragic. I can feel you.
I had the charger and the microphone.
Switch. Nice. Oh. Love that. Guys, I'm telling you right now, this is I think either the last day or tomorrow's the last day of retrograde, and then we're not going to have another retrograde in any planet and any houses until April.
Which is nice.
So if you have any new projects you want to start, any new books, any new blogs, this will be the period of time to start that. January 20th to April. That will be the time to start it because there will be no retrogrades anywhere.
Get it out of that shadow. Oh, and also before I forget, we'll be back on the 25th of the month.
Yeah, we're doing 2 back-to-back shows, and then we won't be back in February until the 22nd, I believe. But that might change. I might switch up. We don't really know.
Yeah.
Time is an illusion anyway, you guys. But you will see us next week on the 25th. That's my grandmother's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, your grandma.
I know. I'll give her a quick shout out for that too. But yeah, dude, I think that's gonna be it for us today, right?
Yeah. What are you taking away? I forgot to ask you.
Well, I'm definitely taking away the new book that It Gets Better sent me. Thank you guys again so much. That was so sweet and so thoughtful. I really, really appreciate that. And just like, I guess I might go out this weekend, hang out with some
friends. Nice.
Yeah, I have some friends coming into town. I might hang out. Yeah,
very cool. Well,
read, you guys. Knowledge power.
Knowledge is power. Read. And we'll see you next week. Stay perfectly clear. Bye.